This is our Algebra 1 final exam. Study guide part 2. Number 13, we're picking up, says, it says decide or state whether it's undefined or if it's zero. Remember the easiest way, and we hadn't talked about this one in a while, the easiest way you can write a capital N and say no slope. That's how some people do it. Or you can just check two values and notice that their y value, their up and down value moves +1 or -1 or an infinite amount, however, at the top. But the bottom number, the x value, it doesn't move at all left and right, so it's 0. Since you can't have 0 at the bottom, that's why it's no slope or it's undefined. 14 says find the slope and y-intercept. Luckily, this is already in y equals mx plus b value, or in mx plus b form. So your m, the thing that's multiplying by the x, is 4/3. So your slope, m is always slope, is 4/3. Your b value, you can't forget the fact that it's negative. B value, or your y-intercept, is -3. I'm sure on the test, it's going to give you an m value at 4/3 and a b value, I promise you, will be just 3 written. That's incorrect. -3. 15 says write an equation with m. They give you m and b. Slope-intercept form, simple. Y equals mx plus b. Just leave y, leave equals, leave a space for m and an x and a space for b. In place of m, we want to plug in 1. So in place of m, 1. In place of b, we want to plug in 4. So in place of b, +4. So y equals, there's no reason to write a 1 coefficient. Y equals x plus 4. 16 says write the slope-intercept form of the equation for the line. Slope-intercept form, it says two things. It says slope and it says intercept. So you need an m and you need a b. Your b value is easy to see. Your b value is where it crosses through, where it begins, where it crosses through the y-axis. B value is -1. -1. Your m value, you need a count to determine it. Use the points that they give you and count how many times you have to go up or down. If we start at this one here, we're going to go up 1 time, 2 times, 3, 4 times, 5, 6 times. Went up 6 times, so it's +6. And count how many times you go left or right. You have to go right 1 time, 2 times. To the right means +2. So your m value is 6/2. So your m value is going to simplify to 3. So you have a b and you have an m. So you can just look back at number 15 and do it the exact same way. Y equals mx plus b. Plug your values in. M's value is +3, so 3x. B's value is -1, so -1. Y equals 3x minus 1. '17 says graph this equation. It's already in slope-intercept form, so it's simple for us. Mx plus b. We already have everything we need. Your b value is -3, and your m value is 3/4. So draw yourself a simple plot. You don't need anything very fancy. You just need to have 1, 2, 3. We're going to need to have at least 4 this way. So B tells you to begin at -3. This is your y-axis, so begin at -3. Your m value tells you where to move. +3 tells you to go up 3 times. So from where we start, we go up 1, 2, 3. So we're back to the origin. And +4 tells us to go right 4 times. So we go over 1, 2, 3, 4. And over to the right 4 times where you put your second point. Then you have 2 points. You can draw yourself a straight line through both of them. And that's your equation. Y equals 3/4 x minus 3. Number 18 says find the x and y intercepts. Remember, x and y intercepts means it's going to cross through the equation as you're looking at it. It's going to cross through both axes. And I'm just guessing on that one. I don't know if it really looks like this. This is your y-intercept. This is your x-intercept. That's why we plug in the value 0 in place of the opposite one. You don't have to change the equation at all. If we're looking for the x-intercept first, you just plug in 0 in place of y. So -3x plus 9 times 0, it's just going to eliminate it. This is all it's going to do, equals 18. Anything times 0 just makes it plus 0, which eliminates it. So negative 3x equals 18. And then um, get x by itself by dividing by negative 3 since it's multiplying. You do it to the left, do it to the right. X equals negative 6. So your x, this is your x-intercept, equals negative 6. In order to find your y-intercept, do the same thing, except instead of plugging in 0 in place of y, plug in 0 in place of x. So negative 3 times 0 plus 9y equals 18. Again, anything times 0 is just going to make it 0. So it's going to say like 0 plus 9. That's why it cancels it out. So we have 9y equals 18. Get y by itself by dividing by 9 since it's multiplying. Do the same on the right. Y equals 2. So your y-intercept is 2 and your x-intercept is negative 6. So my graph was all jacked up. It really would be something like this. That's how the equation would look. 19 says write it in standard form using only integers, not fractions. That's what that means. So let's take care of that part first. Get rid of 2/3. We all know that 2 over 3 can be resaid as 2 divided by 3. That's what that bar means, divide by 3. We also know in order to undo divide by 3, you need to multiply by 3. So if we multiply this term by 3, it'll cancel that out and just leave us with 2x. However, you can't just multiply one thing in an equation by 3 because it throws the balance of everything else off. You have to multiply each term by 3. So 3 times y would be 3y, and 3 times 7 would be positive 21. Now we don't have anything but integers in our equation. So now the second part is to write it in standard form. Standard form is ax plus by equals c. We got to do a little remembering to remember that one. It's been a while since we've looked at standard form. Ax plus by equals c. So we already have by on the left, and we already have c on the right. We just need to bring ax over from the right to the left. It's positive 2x, so when it comes over to the left, it has to subtract. It becomes negative 2x. Positive 3y stays right where it is, as does positive 21. Ax plus by equals c. 20 says, are they parallel? Explain why. In order for two things to be parallel, we know that parallel lines will never cross. We know they look something like this. They'll never cross because they have the same slope. The first equation is in slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b. So you can see the slope of the first equation. In order for these two lines to be parallel, they have to have the same slope. So this bottom equation has to have 1 over 6 as its m value. We have to check that equation to see if that's the case. Negative 2x plus 12y equals negative 11. Get rid of, we want to move it into y equals mx plus b. We want to make it where we can see the m. So get rid of negative 2x by adding 2x. If you add it to the left, add 2x to the right. It leaves you with 12y on the left by itself. We want it to say mx first, so 2x minus 11 plus b. Then the last step, get rid of 12 times something by dividing by 12. If you do it on the left, do it by everything on the right. This will cancel and leave you with just y equals 12 divided by 2, which the number 2 goes into. It becomes 1 divided by 6x. And without even going any further, we can see mx value already. We can see the m value is 1/6. That's what we were looking for, 1/6. It says, are they parallel? Your answer to this question would be yes. Then it says to explain why. And you could say because they have the same slope. Simple as that. Yes, same slope. Had it been no, had it been a different value, you would say no, different slope. 21 says write an equation parallel to this that passes through the point that is given. In order for it to be parallel, just like the last question, it has to have the same slope. So if you look at this first equation, y equals mx plus b, we know that our slope of our first equation is 3 over 4. So it has to have 3 over 4 as its slope. We also know that this is our x and this is our y value. So we have y equals mx plus b. What we don't have is a b value. We want to plug each of these values in order to solve what b is. So if this is our x value, -8, we want to plug it in place of 8, in place of x, -8. If this is our y value, -18, we want to plug it in place of y. And this is our m value, 3/4, we want to plug it in place of m. So we have -18 equals 3/4 times -8 plus b. Plus b is the key because we want to get b by itself. So let's simplify this. It says 3/4 times -8. That's always considered over 1. You multiply straight across, or you can cross cancel right off the jump, saying the number 4 goes into both of these. It goes into 4 one time, and it goes into 8 -2 times. 3 times -2 is -6. Over 1 would just be -6, plus b equals -18. And then to get b by itself, that's adding and subtracting. You go by the fact that that says minus or -6. Undo that by adding 6. If you do it to the right, add 6 to the left. -12 equals b. So now you have a b value and you have an m value. You can write an equation, y equals mx plus b, plugging in each of those values. Y equals m's value, x, plus b. And just bring your value m 3/4 and plug it in. 3/4 x, and your new b value, -12. Y equals 3/4 x minus 12. A lot of work to get to the answer to that problem, but not super hard work. Just a lot of steps. '22 says find a solution to the system of equations. This one's probably set up easiest to do substitution, so we'll go ahead and use substitution. The reason we say that, there's 3 different ways you can graph them and see where they intersect each other, which is the least viable method. You can use substitution, or you can use elimination. Elimination usually tends to be the easiest out of the 3 methods. But since this one has just y already like that, we'll go ahead and move everything else over to make it where we can show substitution one time. So we have -5x, but if you use the other way, it's okay. Plus y equals -5. In order to get y by itself, you want this to move to the other side of the equation. That says -5x, so add 5x. If you add it to the left, add it to the right, plus 5x. This leaves you with just y equals 5x minus 5, just the way we put in mx plus b form. The other equation is -4x plus 2y equals 2. There's no reason to go ahead and move that equation. All we'll do with this one is in place of y, since this says y equals this, we'll just drop this in place of y, or we'll substitute it. So -4x plus 2, now we don't have y anymore. We got a new value for y. It's 5x minus 5 equals 2. Go ahead and simplify this side here. 2 times 5x is 10x. 2 times -5 is minus 10. You have -4x, that's positive 10x. When we combine those two, -4x and positive 10x, it leaves you with 6x minus 10 equals 2. Get rid of minus 10 by adding it. If you do it to the left, add 10 to the right. Leaves you with 6x. It'll cancel here, equals 12. Get rid of 6 times something by dividing by 6. Do it on the right side as well. X's value, I'll write it over here, equals 2. So now that we have x's value, all you need to do is the last part is drop it in right there. So y equals 5 times not x anymore. Now it's 2 minus 5. 5 times 2 is 10 minus 5. Y equals 5. So you have an x value and a y value. Always write them as an ordered pair, x comma y, 2 comma 5. And a lot of work to get to that one. That was 22. 23 says solve using elimination. This one's set up beautifully for elimination. If you look at your y values, you have 3y and -3y's. Those are opposite terms of each other. That's why it's so nicely set up. If we just put a line under them, combine what we have, 3x and 3x gives us 6x. 3y and negative 3y eliminate each other. Equals negative 9 and 21 is 12. So 6x equals 12. Divide by 6. X is 2. So we already have our x value. Plug it into one of the first equations. It doesn't matter which one you pick. Just use the top one because it's about the same. 3x plus 3y equals negative 9. Plug in place of x, 2. So 3 times 2 plus 3y equals negative 9. 3 times 2 is 6. Plus 3y equals negative 9. Get rid of positive 6 by subtracting it. Do it to the right side as well. 3y equals negative 15. Get rid of 3 times something by dividing. Do it on the other side. Y equals negative 5. So you have an x value and a y value. Remember x comma y. Negative 5 comma 2. Thank you for that. We actually have to make one quick change. I made a mistake as I put it. She was kind enough to point it out for me. 2 negative 5, not negative 5 to x comma y.